I'd like to thank Hawaii Representative Della Belatti for joining us today to talk about a very important issue. Thanks for being here, Representative Belatti.
Aloha, Adam. Thank you for having me.
So you have been championing this legislation that would create a small donor public financing system for legislative races in Hawaii. Can you talk a little bit about this bill and what it would do?
Sure, there's three important pieces to it. First is the qualifying signature and contribution piece, where uh, candidates for the state house and state representative positions would have to get qualifying signatures and contributions from registered voters. The second important piece is that once you become a qualifying candidate, the average of the amount of funds that were expended by the state senatorial and representative candidates in the last election cycle, minus the three highest and the three lowest amounts,
Mm.
would then be given to the qualifying candidates as public funds. Then the third important piece of our legislation is that a certified publicly funded candidate would not be able to accept contributions from any persons, natural persons or corporate persons, loans or contributions for political parties through the election cycle and up to September 1st of the year following the general election. So even during the period, if that candidate gets elected, when that candidate is serving in the legislative session here, they would not be able to accept contributions from any of those other groups. So it would really I think, free political candidates and hopefully elected officials from having to chase after money that we so often have to do.
Now, part of this is engaging a broad base of small dollar donors. Why do you think that is an important part of these systems?
I think it's a critical piece because that part of getting qualifying contributions and signatures means that you're going out into your community. You're knocking on doors, you're introducing yourself to a wide range of folks in your community, and you have to get those signatures and those contributions have to come from the community, from the very people that you're seeking to represent. Now, any good politician will know that they're going to be knocking on doors anyway, but I think this provides that added incentive to make sure that you really are grounded in the community. So it is a very important piece of civic
So
engagement.
why did you decide to take up this issue? Why is this issue important to you?
Well, my introduction to politics came in the 1990s, pre Citizens United. And what we did then was we strengthened the system of disclosures, of contribution limits, of making sure that people reported their contributions so that there wasn't this kind of loosey goosey system that had currently existed. And I think we really clamped down and made the system more transparent and accountable, and in fact made the playing field more level and fair for all candidates. However, with Citizens United and us seeing this influence and influx of monies and realizing that, removing the influence of money, we can't do that 100%. We were talking about this kind of clean elections, this publicly funded elections in the 1990s. I think with the developments in constitutional law, with the even greater intense focusing of money into elections, that this became even for me a more critical issue to a policy to follow. What I see, the real hope I see with our legislation is that it's focusing on kind of the pipeline of where you find candidates at these lower level races of city council, of state house, of state senate. What you're going to do is you're creating, I think, a better pipeline of candidates for the future who are more responsive to their constituents, who have more direct contact. And we've always, I think, at the lower levels of government, we've always had more direct contact with constituents. And so I think, this enhances that contact, enhances better trust in the system by folks, by the public who frankly I think are very disgusted by the amounts of money flowing and the feeling of detachment from the political process. So I think this starts us on a better path.
So today there's a hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee on this legislation. So what happens now?
Well, hopefully it gets passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Then it has to go through the floor of the Senate and through one more committee, our Ways and Means Finance Committee on the Senate side. After that, providing that there are probably likely going to be changes, it will go into a conference committee where conferees from both the House and the Senate will meet to kind of hash out the final details. So we're like in the second half of the game
Yeah.
before it gets to the governor's office. And the way that individuals can get involved is to contact their senators. Every senator is going to have an opportunity on second reading and on third reading on the floor to vote up or down on this bill. So it's going to be critical to contact all your senators and say, we support publicly funded elections for the state house and the state senate. And after that, and again, understanding that it's very, very likely that it's going to go to conference committee, then it's to continue to send emails, call your representatives now and your senators urging that a bill of this sort be passed. And then after that, of course, when it gets to the governor's desk, we've got to lobby the governor.
And just so everybody knows, what's the bill number?
The bill number is House Bill 1481.
Okay, so people need to call and email their elected, say, vote for House Bill 1481.
Yes, and we want publicly financed elections for state senate and state house.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank you, Adam, and thank you, Public Campaign. I think all of these kinds of grassroots efforts are critical to taking back our democracy. So thank you for all the work that you're doing, and keep up the good fight.
All right, thank you.